Hello and welcome to the Smashy Business Show. Today is Friday, May 23, 2025. I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Warid Ahmed, and we've got a packed show for you today. We're going to give you all the highlights of day 3 of Qatar Economic Forum. Secondly, Global Ventures Noor Sweid has warned of this massive funding gap in the Middle East at Series B funding stage. And Saudi Arabia has launched this AI startup incubator. We're going to discuss that. And Abu Dhabi's AI giant G42 has brought Stargate to the UAE. And finally, global investors are expected to put $10 billion into Dubai's property market by 2025.
So the Qatar Economic Forum ended yesterday. 3 days of so much content and so much talks. In the morning, we were talking to our founder, Rich. He was there, and he told us that it's one of the events. It's like FII, which happened last year. It will happen this year also.
Where it's all like important people.
But
so
I
it's
like that,
always
a room filled of important people.
I appreciate that though, Majid, because when I think this is so rare. When I was listening to Qatar Economic Forum, not one stutter.
Yeah.
No one is stuttering. Yeah. And I think that's so beautiful. Yeah. Like it was just...
Everyone knew what they were talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like to my ears, I was not confused. No one was stuttering. They got exactly to the point. Yeah. It was honestly a good forum, and we're going to give you the updates.
Yeah, so Qatar's 524 billion sovereign wealth fund, which is QIA, is holding firm on its China strategy. At the Qatar Economic Forum, Mohammed Al-Hardan of the Qatar Investment Authority said the fund remains committed to investing in China despite rising geopolitical pressure. We can't discount China. It is a very significant market, he said. He also addressed AI chip-related deals signed during Donald Trump's Middle East visit, defending them amid U.S. concerns that American tech could reach Chinese firms.
Al-Hardan argued those deals benefit both the U.S. and the region. He also revealed Qatar Investment Authority plans to double its investments in America with a $500 billion pledge over the next decade. Now, that would significantly boost the fund's annual U.S. exposure, even as it balances global relationships.
In the boardroom, AI is gaining traction. Samia Bouaza, CEO of Abu Dhabi's Multiply Group, said she uses a virtual board from local firm Aleria to challenge her decisions. Multiply's top investor, International Holding Company, also introduced an AI-powered board observer last year, showing how AI is reshaping leadership strategy.
And I think that's so interesting. By the way, Aleria, it's a Abu Dhabi-based company. Now, on the global markets front, Goldman Sachs' Christina Minnis told Bloomberg TV that Europe is drawing massive investor interest. She said capital is shifting towards AI, healthcare, defense, and research. Now, Minnis believes European markets could even outperform the U.S. for the first time in decades.
And finally, a spotlight on Africa's startup scene was also seen there. At a panel on venture capital, Zambian fintech founder Chilufya Mutale Movela said rigid international investors are pushing African startups to look elsewhere. More firms are now turning to the Middle East, including Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, for flexible and regionally aligned capital. Very interesting day.
Very really interesting
day. The first day was my favorite. I think everyone keeps every interesting thing for the first day. But second and third day, I think they didn't get enough limelight because it was more global talk and less Middle East talk. Since it was Qatar Economic Forum, we wanted to hear more about Qatar and more about UAE, Saudi and everything. But I personally think this was their best edition. The last one I saw in highlights, but it's in just 5th year. So I think they did great.
They're doing great.
Yeah. And names like Todd Boehly, Chelsea CEO, chairman now, Elon Musk.
Ola Dadoun too.
Yes,
the
she
founder
was
of
there.
Oasis.
So she is the first person to start a crypto exchange from here. So that's there. We have a Dreamer series on it. You can go on Google or wherever and write Ola Dadoun and BitOasis and Smashy Business. You'll find the Dreamer series. We'll try to replug it in the stories. But these people were there. Interestingly, all of them, nearly everyone somehow went to the Middle East angle and talked about it. Even the lady that we talked about, she said Europe is winning. She said US will be beaten by Europe this year. But her comments eventually raised that, okay, we know that Middle East is the most hottest market right now. So she also agreed.
Quite literally, too.
Yeah.
It's really hot right
Because
now.
she is based in Europe, she obviously will tout her own horn. She doesn't want to say that, oh no, we're not doing great in Europe. So that was a little like leaning statement from her that, oh, Europe is doing great. But she had to acknowledge eventually that Middle East is like right now the best place to be in terms of anything. And next, let's come to Middle East and let's talk about Noor Sweid. He was in Saudi Arabia, and a stark warning to region's investment community. Founder and managing partner at Global Ventures, Noor Sweid, has highlighted a significant shortfall in Series B funding for startups across the Middle East. Speaking at the Fortune Most Powerful Women International Summit in Riyadh, Sweid stated that the funding gap is impeding scale and delaying the path to initial public offerings for many high-potential firms.
Now, Series B funding is a critical stage in a startup's growth trajectory for it to break even, and Sweid emphasized that the current ecosystem is falling short. She noted that many founders are spending up to 9 months focused on raising capital, time that could otherwise be directed toward revenue growth and market expansion. Now, this extended fundraising cycle is weakening the momentum of the region's startup sector. Like, as she called it, she basically said that founders are not keeping their eyes on the prize, which is basically making revenue. They're just constantly chasing after capital. And Majid made this really good point yesterday of how, you know, with startups, they use them raising capital as like their marketing strategy, and they're just focused on that.
They need to be focused on the product itself
Exactly.
as well. And the core issue, according to Noor Sweid, lies in the relatively small size of venture capital funds in the region. She also runs a venture capital fund. And she stressed the need for VC funds of $300 million or more. And she's quite right. In the last 3-4 months, we've seen a lot of funds which have come with a 100 million mark. They're not going to 200 or 300 million mark. So this point makes sense that we need $300 million or more. And they should be capable of making fewer but more impactful investments. Without such backing, Noor Sweid warned, startups will struggle to scale and attract exit opportunities.
Despite these challenges, Global Ventures continues to invest actively in regional innovation. The firm recently led a $15 million Series B round for UAE-based language technology company Terjama that was founded in Jordan. And Sweid also confirmed that 2 additional deals are expected this quarter, including one involving an artificial intelligence-led startup.
And interest in Series B opportunities is beginning to rise in early 2025. However, Noor Sweid cautioned that unless larger and more committed investment vehicles emerge, the Middle East risks stalling its progress towards becoming a globally recognized hub for technology-driven IPOs. She called on the investment community to step up and help bridge the gap.
And I definitely think that they're stepping up. I think that Majid will probably argue against this one, but basically, Kitopi, they basically sent something to their customers where, you know, they were like, we're reducing our cashback from 30% to 20%. And I honestly do think that's about their possible upcoming IPO, according to AGBI. You know,
she knows I will argue
honestly,
against it.
I know that he will argue against this, but you know, we have to put it out there because, you know, an IPO is big, and I feel like they've been delaying this for a while because we've been seeing headlines around it, we've been seeing the speculation, but when is it actually going to happen? I feel that Dhabi is more confirmed. By the way, Noor Sweid's Global Ventures has invested into both Kitopi and into Dhabi.
Yeah. So the problem with Kitopi is, see, all these startups have an IPO plan.
Yeah.
Everyone knows this. The founders say they have IPO plans because everyone has an IPO plan. IPO is very good to raise money.
Yeah.
Apart from going to VCs to just ask for money or private equity money or any kind of money, IPO is the best bet to get money because people know your name, people will invest in your IPO. I think these things are more related to cost efficiency because we don't talk about it. We generally dismiss this idea, but we have to take in point that 10% tariff by US is still active. A lot of people have forgotten it since he paused the tariffs, the extra tariffs that he put, but the baseline universal Trump tariffs are there. A lot of people have forgotten about it because of the markets going up and everything happening. But the base tariff, the universal tariff that US put on everyone, that was a wholesale 10%, that's still there. That increases the cost of everything that you want to get. You want sugar, you want a service, everything has an increased price. That is why I gave you an example. CAFU is one of the examples, leading examples in the region. After COVID, they removed all the charges with petrols and whatever they're doing. All the services that they give, they just charge for the service, not for acquiring the service. So fuel was at exactly the cost that you'll get on the petrol station. Now it's a 12 dirham cost.
They were being too
that.
nice.
Yeah. So this Kitopi thing, them dropping their cashback from 30 to 20%, and to be honest, I think a lot of people don't notice. I've been a fan of Noon on this show for a long time, but I have realized over like the last year, Noon's delivery prices has also increased. So some of the
Majid, did you see how they're selling cows? You can pre-order.
A lot of people.
Oh my God!
I
you
think
can pre-order
Carrefour-
sheep for Eid al-Adha. I was so surprised.
Everyone runs a campaign on Eid.
No, but like, Majid, it just completely surprised me because I opened Noon Minutes and I'm like, hold on, are you guys telling me that I can order a camel for 7,000 dirhams?
Yeah.
No, I was impressed. I was really impressed. And if you look at the requirements, they were like, the way that we butcher the meat is halal.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you guys are ready. They're honestly so seasonal and I love it.
We should talk about this. Most probably we'll do something in the next week about
Yeah.
Eid al-Azha coming and all these services providing animals and slaughter meat and all that. You just go and book an animal.
But Majid, I just want to
yeah.
add one point in back to what Noor Sweid was saying, and you know Bloomberg basically brought up this point of that for companies in the Middle East to get better Series B funding, you know, they actually need funding companies that are worth more than $300 million.
Yeah.
And for now, you know, in the Middle East, we have Sweid Ventures.
Yeah. So many
and
ventures,
that's the venture capitalist arm of Aramco, Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia's Aramco, and that's worth $500 million. Recently, also, STV, backed by Google, they launched
Yeah.
this $100 million artificial intelligence fund. So we are getting there.
Yeah.
They are getting there. It will take some time, but we're definitely going to get there with that.
Exactly that point, yes. And the funny thing about this whole talk by Noor Sweid, and whenever she says something, to be honest, you
You're
have
not
to
laughing.
you have to take it as an expert advice, to be
Yeah.
honest, because she is one of the biggest venture capitalists, runs a firm. She's everything that you can imagine. But the thing about exit strategy, she's very right, because in the recent past, I've been looking at Crunchbase a lot. We don't report on a lot of numbers that Crunchbase does. But whenever I read a global report, not the Middle Eastern report, I usually read the global reports about which category is more active, where people are investing more. Is it cybersecurity? Is it AI? Is it tech, fintech, whatever? The main trend has been towards AI. I think that's given. But exits have stopped. Exits have ceased. People are not selling their startups either because they're not getting good money for it. So if someone built it for like 40 million, took money, they're not able to sell it also. And that is what she's talking about, that the exits stop if you can't raise Series B. And just small introduction of Series B is it's mostly usually when you've hit a revenue stream where you're breaking even or at least making some profit. And Series A is when you've gotten traction, your product is in the market, people know your product. Series B is usually after that. So if you got traction, you're selling the product, people are buying it, you have good customer base, Series A is raised, you're perfectly positioned to now grow. But if you don't grow and stagnate at that point, no one will invest in Series B. So that is like the technical aspect of it. But very simply put, Noor Sweid is 100% true. Series B is very bad right now for Middle East. And it's not just here, it's a global thing. And when you do Series B, eventually...
Why is it a global thing?
Because a lot of people, a lot of startups, we talked about it yesterday, and very nice connection to that point that I made yesterday, that a lot of people are making copycat products. So a lot of people, when they come to the market, they gain traction because that service is already a need in the
This
market.
is why you need to give China
Yeah.
some credit. Their
So,
copycats are
yeah.
good.
So if someone has already introduced a new breakthrough, people want it now. Someone comes in with a cheaper price, with a cheaper alternative, people will go there. But you can't make a lot of money out of it because it's still a copy of some service that was already there. So the market is divided so nicely and so differently that there is no money to be made. There's no billions to be made. So you can't become a unicorn if you make a copycat product. And very rare cases you do, but very less chances. And the exit will be bad because everyone will look at you. Whoever wants to buy a startup from you, if you want to exit, they will look at the bigger fish. They'll look at the first starter because those people actually disrupted the market. You're just a copycat. So very technical things, but very easy to understand. If you're launching in a very saturated market like Dubai, like UAE, like Saudi Arabia, try to come up with a service which at least disrupts the market. If you're coming up with something which is already being done and you just want a share from that category, don't expect a good exit and don't expect millions and millions of funding. No one will fund you because they already know the starter, the first mover.
But
Yeah.
speaking of regional successes,
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Communications and Information Technology has launched a specialized incubator dedicated to artificial intelligence startups. This new program, housed within the Center of Digital Entrepreneurship, aims to nurture emerging AI ventures over a 4-month period, supporting 20 selected startups. So see, Matt, it is coming.
Yeah. Participants in the incubator will receive comprehensive support, including training, mentorship, financial backing, most important thing, from the National Technology Development Program, access to office space, and digital incentives. The initiative is a collaborative effort involving key partners such as the Saudi Data and AI Authority, Samba Nova, and BIM Ventures.
This incubator reinforces Saudi Arabia's commitment to becoming a regional innovation hub and highlights artificial intelligence as a central pillar of its digital economy strategy. Now, the program seeks to transform innovative ideas into viable technology, strengthening the kingdom's growing AI ecosystem.
And the incubator aligns with Saudi Arabia's broader AI ambitions, including a $1 billion investment announced at LEAP 2024 to accelerate AI startups across the region. Additionally, initiatives like Spark Labs Group's AimX Accelerator provide early-stage AI startups with funding of up to $200,000 as part of the National AIM initiative.
Through these efforts, Saudi Arabia aims to foster a vibrant startup environment and establish itself as a global leader in artificial intelligence technology. Now, the new incubator is expected to play a vital role in supporting the next generation of AI innovation within the kingdom. Now, with AI, you really have to tread very carefully because honestly, at some point, we're all going to make the same products. We've seen that with Google and OpenAI. And in this case, OpenAI's ChatGPT won. Why? Because they released their product before
Everyone
Google.
else.
They released, and I think with Google, their shortfall here was the fact that Gemini, it needed so much money. According to Forbes Majid, it was up to $191 million, and comparatively, for ChatGPT, it was like up to $40 to $70 million for their technical costs. So in this case, that is why OpenAI's ChatGPT is doing so well, and that is why I have so much hope for the UAE.
Yeah. And let's quickly segue into the next story because since we're talking about AI, it makes sense. In a historic step forward for artificial intelligence, AI, and international collaboration, G42, OpenAI, Oracle, NVIDIA, SoftBank Group, and Cisco today announced their partnership to build Stargate UAE. Stargate UAE is a next generation AI infrastructure cluster that will run in the newly established 5 gigawatt UAE US AI campus in Abu Dhabi. Stargate UAE, a 1 gigawatt compute cluster, will be built by G42, operated by OpenAI and Oracle, and the collaboration will also include Cisco offering its zero trust security and AI-ready connectivity, and SoftBank Group as well as NVIDIA will supply the latest NVIDIA Grace Blackwell GB300
They
systems.
finally did it.
Yeah, and the facility will provide best-in-class infrastructure, nation-scale compute, and low-latency inferencing to deliver AI that will meet the demands of an increasingly intelligent world. The first 200 megawatt AI cluster is expected to go live in 2026.
Now, Stargate UAE creates a foundation for scalable, trusted AI. It's going to accelerate scientific discovery and drive innovation across industries ranging from healthcare and energy to finance and transportation, fueling future economic growth and national development. Now, the UAE US AI campus, which will house Stargate UAE, was announced last week in Abu Dhabi in the presence of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of the United Arab Emirates, and Donald Trump, President of the US. Now, the endeavor builds on a new framework by the US and UAE governments. The US UAE AI Acceleration Partnership to deepen cooperation collaboration on AI and advanced technologies, developing safe, secure, and responsible AI that delivers long-term benefits for everyone. Now, under this framework, UAE entities will also expand their investments in digital infrastructure in the US in projects such as Stargate US, in line with the recently announced America First investment policy.
And the AI Center, spanning 10 square miles, the full UAE US AI infrastructure campus is the largest such deployment out of the US. It will provide 5 gigawatts of AI data center capacity and regional compute resources. The facility will be powered by nuclear, solar, and natural gas to minimize carbon emissions, and it will also house a science park, driving innovation, talent development, and sustainable compute infrastructure.
I think with this case, probably no one in this world is happier than His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon. And it's so interesting, but I feel that I really want to tell this story. You know, the game of the UAE winning AI was actually once upon a time just a chess game. And I'll tell you guys how. So basically, His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon, which is the brother of the president of the UAE, it's a really interesting article on Wired. You guys should take a look. But basically, what was so interesting is that basically back in the 2000s, there was this like supercomputer chess engine, and it was known as Hydra, and it was one of the most powerful chess machines in the world during that time. And I just found that so interesting because I'm not into gaming like that. I didn't know that you can play chess on computers. I'll be honest. I did not. I'm not a gaming person. I know that GTA 6, though, is coming out next year. I know that. I used to play GTA and Fortnite, but no, I don't like gaming for the most part. But anyways, basically, this supercomputer chess engine, Hydra, guess what? It was personally backed by His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon. Also, another fun fact, he was actually the best player on the game, not just in the Middle East, not just in the Gulf, but worldwide. And he basically had this, he was basically a user, according to Wired, allegedly called Zorchamp. And it's so the entire story to me, it's so interesting. And I see that this is the, honestly, Majid, that's a long-term cause for why the UAE has gotten to this point. Because it is this specific person who has fought for the rise of artificial intelligence. You guys honestly wouldn't believe how a lot of people are very traditional. They don't. By the way, like a lot of nations are not catching up with AI. That is very true. They don't think that it's important, but it is this specific person who has caught up with it, and you see it in how they chair G42, the best artificial intelligence company in the UAE. He chairs ADIA. He chairs International Holding Company. He chairs FAB. So he's a part of that big cash pool, but a lot of people are a part of cash pools, but where are you actually going to put that money? So to see that the UAE has reached this point, Majid, I think that no one is happier in the world more than His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon right now.
And he has been the head of literally everything AI right now. And the article that Word is referring to, it's like a series of articles that came out when G42 started surfacing. It's not a new company. It has been there for 2-3 years at least. But it recently surfaced last year when they did a $1.5 million deal with Microsoft. And everyone was like, okay, what is this? So G42 has a lot of subsidiaries, and all of them have 42s. So the main thing about this story is what I saw was that US announced Stargate. As soon as Trump came, brought three big guys, made them stand on the side, gave a lecture on why he's building and why they're investing $500 billion on building AI infrastructure in the US. The whole idea in the start was that it was going to be in the US, it's going to be like the Burj Khalifa of US for AI. It's going to be the most important project they've done throughout these 4 years.
And MGX was backing it, which is chaired by His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon.
Again, Sheikh Tahnoon, His Highness, he's always there.
Yeah.
The funny thing was that it was supposed to be in the US. Elon Musk, I remember, and came and said, "Oh, OpenAI doesn't have the money to do it."
Oh my God,
yes.
imagine.
Sam Altman, then we reported that it was a Bloomberg exclusive,
Yeah.
basically, that he came to Abu Dhabi to have a talk and ask about raising money for his OpenAI. But I think the talk was more about this, whatever transpired in the last 2 weeks. And we saw Mr. Trump here, US President, allowing us to get the chips, allowing us to build the structure, that AI campus that everyone is talking about. So it's been a whole summary of 4 or 5 months. It's not just like they randomly came up, like, okay, we'll build it in UAE. It's been 4 or 5 months. Sheikh Tahnoon went to Washington. So everything, when you see it from like a bird's eye view or from a grander scheme of things, it took them like a year to come up with all this that now we're seeing. And this is one of the projects, which is going to be the highlight of everything.
Have you noticed something, though? That just right about when we were given this announcement, basically Elon Musk was at Qatar's Economic Forum, and when he was being interviewed by this Bloomberg journalist, do you know her name?
Mishal Hussain.
Mishal Hussain?
Hussain, yes.
Okay, she's lovely, by the way. When she was interviewing Elon Musk...
Team Mishal, right? It's a very nice competition going on our post.
It's not more of that. I just think that she's a really good interviewer because in the end of the day, I'm not looking at it as in, oh, like he bullied her. I'm looking at it in the sense of you did your job really well. You got those responses out of him.
She didn't even blink once.
She didn't stutter once. She did not blink. She did not look afraid. If anything, she got on his nerves. And I think that means you did a good job. But anyways, back to his interview. Basically, Michelle, she asked him, she was like, oh, like, do you intend to invest in any like further U.S. elections in the next 5 years? And Elon Musk said no. And it's like, I think now we know why.
Yeah.
We're seeing what's going on with Stargate, Trump backing Sam Altman coming to the UAE.
Yeah.
I mean, why would that not anger Elon Musk? That's like his biggest competitor. Now it's all making sense. It's seriously all making sense.
She also asked him about the case that he's pursuing against Sam Altman, because OpenAI,
he's still
very
at it?
nice that Musk, it's still going on. Very nice revelation. I just remembered that he said that. We should have done a story on it. He said, I named it OpenAI. Now we know the origin of OpenAI. That open, it'll going to be free for all. Always.
You can still do it.
Yeah, I was like, okay, OpenAI, and that means he wanted to build something on AI, about AI, for AI, in AI, which is open for all. And it's not going to be like a closed system like this Apple laptop. Apple laptops are a closed system. Microsoft Windows laptops, they're an open system. You can change whatever you want. With Apple, you can't do that. People have done it, but it's not legally or technically allowed. So he wanted to build that. He doesn't want OpenAI to become a for-profit firm. And that was his idea. Still fighting Sam Altman in the court. And he was like, I will continue the fight to the end. So it's not, to be honest, it's not a fight with Sam Altman. It's his idea that he wants to create AI which is free of cost. I don't know what his motive is, but only he can tell. But he wants to create that. And OpenAI is not doing that.
He doesn't need the money from it, to be fair.
Yeah, another question, very interesting question, not in our the thing that we did. She asked, there's a case on Elon Musk going on right now in the US where he wants a higher pay for being the Tesla CEO. And Mishal Hussain, very nice question. To be honest, that question was one of my favorites she asked. She was like, why are you asking for more money? Is it a money thing? And Musk's reply was, it's not a money thing, it's a control thing. Because I don't want any person to come up and be an activist and just say, okay, now we're changing the direction of Tesla. I want to decide the direction of Tesla because I built it. So he's saying, I don't want more money in terms of Tesla shares. I don't care about money. It's not a money thing.
That doesn't make sense.
He said, I care about control.
So basically he wants more stake.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
That does make sense.
So he wants more shares in Tesla, basically.
That made
so
more
as soon as you increase his salary, they won't give him money like cash or anything. They will give him more stake in Tesla. So he said that I want to be the person who gives direction to Tesla.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of talk about Tesla being shut down, Tesla not doing
Yeah.
bad. The whole interview is actually a thesis, to be honest. If you have time, it's a 40-minute interview. Just go to YouTube, watch it. It's one of the most interesting interviews by any tech person, because usually you see them, it's such a
And
robotic
it was on
reply.
video call.
Yeah.
That too.
And it just came out. It just came out like out of nowhere. I think usually there's an idea that whenever, even Zuckerberg, he's doing so many interviews with so many people, and the interview looks like such a cool place where they're joking and everything. Everything is literally scripted because they want to build an image for Mark Zuckerberg from that robotic face to the new curly hair chain guy. So yeah, Elon Musk, best interview on the planet right now. And to be honest, credit goes to Mishal Hussain for bringing out
I think
that
you're obsessed,
Elon Musk.
Majid. I really do think you're obsessed.
You say, it's like, to be honest, it's like I have a dream moment. That was one speech by Martin Luther King Jr.
No,
that made sense.
I would not compare
No,
it to that.
I'm not saying the content-wise, it was way different. The magnanimity of this interview, because you will never find a Elon Musk interview in such candid mood. There is a lot of interviews from Elon Musk earlier in the time when he was not such a big guy and the world's richest man, where he says some interesting stuff. But the whole interview being so candid and him telling her everything like, oh, I don't want to talk to robotic journalists who are NPCs and all that. It's very rare.
He sounded
that,
to me like an ex-chatbot.
you will never
but-
see Bill Gates do it. You will never see
you
Jeff
won't.
Bezos do it. Musk did it.
Anyways,
Yeah, last story.
moving on, Knight Frank forecasts a significant rise in global investment flowing into Dubai's property market. Now they're actually expecting $10.3 billion by the end of 2025, up from $6.9 billion in 2024. Now, Faisal Durrani, Knight Frank's head of research, shared these insights in a LinkedIn post referencing the firm's latest Destination Dubai 2025 report.
And the report, which surveyed 387 HNWIs, high net worth individuals across Saudi Arabia, India, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, and the UK, revealed an average intended investment of $32 million. 1%, 32 million. Big numbers. Notably, 15% of respondents are targeting purchases above $80 million, underscoring strong appetite among ultra-wealthy investors.
Residential property in the UAE ranked as the top asset class for 68% of these surveyed HNWIAs, with 33% planning to invest in the sector in 2025. Additionally, more than half, 52%, are considering Dubai as a primary residence, an increase from 43% last year, signaling the city's growing appeal beyond just investment.
And Saudi investors showed the highest interest, with 66% aiming to purchase property this year and 27% planning acquisitions within the next 2 to 3 years. Investor demand is also rising in Asia, particularly among Hong Kong-based buyers, 22% of whom intend to invest in Dubai, surpassing the East Asian average of 17%.
Wealthier individuals are significantly more likely to invest, with 68% of those worth $30 to $50 million planning purchases in 2025, compared to only 12% of those with $2 to $5 million in assets. Now, Dubai remains the favorite emirate for 71% of global investors that want to invest in the UAE, especially among Saudis, British people, Indians, and East Asians, who together made up over half of Knight Frank's Dubai residential sales in 2024. And that's a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smashy Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashy Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashy Business Show, Smashy Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our millions of listeners, 1.5 million to be exact, monthly listeners across all platforms. You make this possible. If you're one of them, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Not tomorrow. It's a weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.